Eva. My name is Ray. I've been doing graphic design and communications work for the past couple of decades. And what I'm hoping to teach to help you all out with and to share with you today, as well as in our past workshops, and also in the upcoming like communications toolkit document that's going to be out by the end of this quarter, is how to be able to use some like basic tips, tricks, rules to be able to create communications documents, flyers, graphics, and things like that are professional, are effective, but aren't going to take up a ton of time and energy and like stress on y'all's part. For a lot of this work, we are going to be using Canva because it is a relatively easy to use tool. It works pretty well because it's browser based, so y'all should have access to it. And they also offer a free they also offer the professional version free to nonprofits, and that's official 501c3 nonprofits, as well as less formal advocacy and like community groups. If you go, I showed everybody this last time. I think I'll go through it again. Let me pull up. I'm going to share my screen. If you just go to the Google and you do Canva for nonprofits, the first link that'll be pop up will be Canva for nonprofits, and this page gives you all of the information about what you get. With the Canva Pro account, you get the benefit of having all of their stock photos without any kind of watermarks. You get access to all of their fonts, and you get access to their branding tools, which means you can do things like load your agency's logos, fonts, and colors directly in the Canva and have them available to you for designs. When you apply, if I hit apply now, it just takes me to Canva because I'm logged in, but you get a form where it asks you a bunch of information. I've effectively set this up for organizations that don't exist in any legal function. They're just like a group of people working together, and simply by sending them a PDF of like our mission and vision statement and like a little description of what we do, that we're that we're volunteer based, and we were able to get approved. The Canva nonprofit accounts can have up to 10 user logins. You can, of course, always do shared logins if you need more people than that to access. But it's a really great tool that I highly recommend to get you access. So for those of you that are new to this particular session, I would like you, if you have anything in particular you want to if there's anything in particular that you want to make sure that we cover, if you have a project that you want to get feedback on or ask questions about or show and have me offer you suggestions on, let me know. Or if you just have general questions or particular things that are challenging for you around doing communications and design work, feel free to share that into the chat, and I'll do my best, and I'll be sure to cover it in the next hour. But yeah, so in the last session, and in this one of the big important things I talked about was, most of y'all aren't communications people. Y'all aren't designers. You're advocates, you're out there in the field, and this is just a step in the work you have to do to facilitate getting information out there, educating folks, letting them know the resources that are available. In my experience, like the best way for y'all to do that is to create content as quickly and as easily as possible. I've done work supporting organizers and advocates that do a lot of work around organizing volunteers or reaching out to clients. And, Some people, they ask me to do all their design work, and other people, they want to spend hours doing that work. And the thing is like, if you're not a design professional, it's going to take you a lot longer. Just like it would take me a lot longer to do y'all's jobs, because I wouldn't know fully what I was doing. So what I'm hoping is these ideas and these tricks will allow you to build something quickly that is effective, that is professional looking, that you can then get to where it needs to go, and then move on to doing like the core of the work that the communications is there to support. And in Canva, a lot of that comes through the use of templates. That's both finding pre-built templates in Canva that you can use for your work, and also taking things you've previously done and using them as templates to do new work. And that is a degree of what I'm going to focus on for this upcoming, for the next hour. So here I'm sharing my screen, and as you can see, this is the main login for Canva. And it gives you, if you scroll down, you can see all of your recent designs. You can see, there's options to make designs from scratch. Here as well, you can search and it'll give you all kinds of different formats. So like, if you need a Facebook like event cover, you search and you can find that, and you can make something blank. Or you can search for content here, and you're going to get templates, and you're going to get themed content. There are a couple of different ways you can search. You can search for what you need. So for instance, like an event flyer, and it's going to pull up all of these different designs for event flyers. Over on the left here, there are categories of like types of file. There are also options for styles and options for themes. So you can filter down that way. So maybe you want to, let's see what greeting is. Okay. So I'm looking at these different flyers. I'm looking at these different options. I can filter by, oh my God, there's a lot. Let's see. Get rid of greeting. I'm gonna pull, I just saw conference, for example, or, so here's a bunch of specifically designed for conferences flyers. If you notice, for conferences, a lot of them have spots for like multi-day schedules, topics, dates, speakers, things like that. And I think that's the most important thing, I think, to take away when you're using templates is have a good idea of the information that needs to be on your design before you start. Like if you have it all in a Word document, because sometimes the format is more important than the actual theme. You can change the design elements. You can change the graphics. You can change the color scheme within reason, but it can be harder to change the content structure around. Like if you look at some of these, like if you look at this one, for instance, upcoming events, this looks like it's probably pretty easy to change out this top and bottom photograph, but it'd be a lot harder to like rearrange like some of these elements. And if I'm going to click on this one to bring it up and show you, this is what this looks like. I can go here and I can actually, there's a overlay here. Yeah, I can go in here and I can edit the image or replace the image. There's a square over top of this. So I can go in and replace the image and change the color scheme in a lot of ways, a lot easier than I can start rearranging these elements. And all of these are really well aligned. Like this is a well-balanced flyer. Like all of this is aligned. All of this text is aligned. This is well centered. You've got columns aligned here. And when I see people who don't have a lot of design background and they're taking a template and they're modifying that, and it doesn't quite look right, the first thing I almost always recognize is that they've changed alignment or something, or they've tried to put too much text into an area where that text doesn't fit. And then they change the size of the text, but only there. So it looks unbalanced, or it doesn't look quite right because the visual consistency was changed. So this would be an example of, like, if you're coming in and you're like, we have a 3-day conference where I need to say, like, here's one piece of information or 2 pieces of information for every day. This flyer might work for me, and I can just change out images. I can change out brand color and things like that, and make it what I need it to be. I actually want to do an example. Where is it? So this was a template I found last hour when I was searching through templates, and I pulled this up, and this is a pretty well-designed template for what it is. And I wanted, but it's for a food drive. So, like, how could you, like, first off, what's well-designed about it? It does a pretty decent job of breaking up information. It's got a large striking photo. It very clearly tells you what it is. You also have a good hierarchy of elements. Something like this one, actually, where it actually, if anything, struggles is there's a lot of information and it's hard to tell what to deal with first. So if I were in my professional capacity, one of the first things I would probably do is change the heading size to be a little bit bigger, or maybe, like, change out some of the fonts or something. But this is a lot of information. And the question is also, like, to you, is what is the most important piece of information on there? Is it the name of the event? Is it the title? Is it what you're trying to get people there to do? Often, like, if somebody's going to look at your flyer and they're going to read 5 words, what are the 5 words you want them to read to, like, then read the rest of the flyer or connect with what you're doing? So looking at this food drive photo, this food drive one, like, this would be a really effective one. Like, it says very much here, it's like food drive, help donate to the hungry this season. There is a very clear hierarchy. There's a lot of contrast between this font and this font. That actually creates, like, an energy within the design. It's like a basic kind of design trick, is like, if I take this and I make it that, no, not that. That doesn't look nearly as good. Did you see that? Like, I changed the font to a lighter font and suddenly, like, the energy has gone out of it. Because you have a bold font next to a thin font. And those are things, like, using those type of fonts together can actually create like a little bit more energy into the design. So let's say I want to take this and I want to edit this design. So I remove the graphics, and I actually want to use this to do I want to use this to create a support group flyer. And I'm obviously, like, I don't have actual content I'm working off of, but but let's say I have this, I want to use it. So I can change the title, I can rearrange some stuff, or oh, I have a cap lock someone. Okay. And then I want to go and grab, and I actually want to, rather than use a stock photo, I want to put a photo in here, because I want to talk about stock photos. So within Canva, if you get the pro version, you get access to a ton of really great stock photos. But there is a lot you have to navigate with stock photography. Stock photography is often focused on selling products, corporations, for profit. It often shows models, or very model, like very like a certain degree of people of what is considered conventionally attractive. There's often, it's getting better, but for a long time there wasn't a lot of diversity in race and culture. Canva does well there. Canva does well with the cultural elements. Like I searched last time around. I'm actually going to search first off. I did this search last hour. So there was a Tumblr blog for a while that was just called Women Smiling at Salad, or White Women Smiling at Salad. And all it did was post stock images of white women smiling at salad. Because if you ever go on any stock photo website and start looking that up, there are millions of pictures, because it's like there's so much within like the health industry space. And Um, and if you do that search here, you see there are lots and lots of photos. And one benefit, like Canva, is there's a lot more cultural diversity here. But you still have the same problem of that most of these photos are conventionally attractive, likely models. And it can be a little bit harder to find stock photos that look a little bit more realistic of the people that you might want to be depicting, like the communities that you're actually trying to work with. So what do we do about that? One is to be more specific in our, one is either to just scroll through lots of stock photos and be keeping an eye out for the one that's going to look a little bit more like what you want it to look like. Others are to specifically, like, you know, do some searching for those particular like types of people. Maybe you want older people, maybe you want larger people. And sometimes you unfortunately have to search using some stigmatizing terms. In the last hour, I searched for I specifically searched for plus size women and fat women to get a diversity. And even then, like a lot of what then came up was diet stuff, was like, obviously, like this is designed as a picture to be used for like weight loss. So it can be tough. There are ways, but like it's worth it, because we want to like more represent the diversity of our communities. And again, like I said, sometimes that involves just scrolling and scrolling until we find the right picture. Sometimes it involves using other websites and collections, like the one Eva just shared, which is a collection that Vice magazine put together, that is a small but really high quality collection of stock photos that are gender diverse and body diverse people, that are free to use for nonprofit use. There are also a number of stock photo websites out there now that cater specifically to diverse communities, that are paid accounts, but might be worth it for you to be able to show those communities. But I actually want to do for this one, you know, a lot of y'all, this is rural communities, so I want to actually take a look and see what we can find. Like, let's say that this is a rural farming community, so we want to try to find something that will match there. So I'm actually going to do a search for farm worker, and just as kind of an example. And as you can see here, they pull up lots of photos, and a lot of them, like, they range. I didn't use any, like, if we're in Florida, we're probably dealing with Latinx communities, but I didn't put that in there because there seems to be some good diversity in this. Like there are obviously like the the white cowboy pictures, but there are also, and then there's some international stuff in here. But there are photos that do seem like, nope, that's also a white guy. There are some photos in here that seem like they might be usable.
And Ray, I put this in the chat, but just wanted to put a plug in for this. So with for those of you who weren't on the previous call, we looked a little bit at the comic book that we created for the Rural Project in 2021. And what I didn't share is that that project was originally slated to be a fotonovela. And so one of the things that I had considered is that, you know, I didn't want to use images that were sort of biased, that didn't look like the folks who were working, you know, at factories or, you know, and so we actually built in money to pay a photographer and actors for that fotonovela. And so when you're building a project from the ground up, you can think strategically about some of these things, including like, well, if I need to get stock images and I'm not happy with what's out there, what else can I do? You know, can I? And then also you're kind of building trust in your community because you're finding people from within that community, you're paying them, you know, you're creating a mini job for someone, right? And particularly it might be someone who maybe, you know, if especially like if you're doing like youth or something like that, creating a small job for youth that is pretty simple. You know, and there are other considerations, of course, to that, like how do you, because with nonprofit agencies, you do have to have, if you're consulting or if you're paying folks, you do have to have a W-9 and you do have to have, and so of course, letting people know about those limitations ahead of time.
Absolutely, thank you, Eva. And that is often one of the best ways to do it. If you can get a if you can get some funding and you can do a program to get some photos of individuals, you know, if you can get people to do that modeling, like you put those resources into the community and you get photos that are exactly what you need. I've worked with organizations that have done projects like that with volunteers, like modeling as patients and things like that, that we still use like years later. You know, so here, you know, there are photos, you know, there you can go through, you can look at these, you can look at other projects, you can talk to other nonprofits that work within your area, and things like that. It's best to avoid, like you will sometimes find like photos that are very obviously like, I'm pretty sure this is a Photoshop job. This is literally a picture of a tractor with a picture of a guy just Photoshopped on top of it. And sometimes those can be really tone deaf, especially if the person superimposed obviously doesn't look like they would be in that area. So like this guy obviously looks like this is if this is a Photoshop job, it's a really good one, but I'm pretty sure this guy he actually looks like he would be in this field. He's wearing long sleeves. He's, you know, he's not like he looks like somebody who's working and stopped to take a photo, while some of these other ones might not be. Like this one, this guy, I don't think this is a Photoshop, but that's definitely a staged photo. You know, but there are lots of these and you can go in and you can look through them. So, you know, and then sometimes you need to modify the area where things are to be able to, you know, work with that photo. So like here's a design, but part of the reason I picked this design too is like this has for an event, like what you need. Like this information can be changed out pretty easily and used to create a flyer that can be put online or can even be printed. You can swap out the photo. You can change the, change the size a little bit. You can very much move around elements, change colors, and get something that is a little bit more like what you need. And I'm playing around with something right here. So just more showing things. So you can take a flyer that has nothing to do originally with what you want and use it because the layout works, and know that like if you kind of stick to it and you change things based off of basic design like rules, that you're going to keep with something that looks pretty professional. But I do want to share another great benefit of Canva is they have a whole learning section where if you're interested about learning some of these basic design principles, they give you the option to go and do it through videos without needing to like invest a lot of time. So in Canva, and I think, yeah, this is on every tab of Canva, but there's this Learn tab, and there's standard help. There's a blog, which goes into some more in-depth stuff. But this design school link here takes you to a number of different sets of videos and things like that. So there is Canva for beginners. There's nonprofits, print advertising, design skills for students, typography and layout. And most of these, whiteboards, getting started, create like video. If you wanted to, like, we're not going in the video, but if you wanted to look into using Canva for video, you've got a whole thing here. And usually these are, I think I went in and typography and layout, for example. Each of these is relatively short videos. Like you're looking at 6 to 9 minutes each. Each lesson then has an activity that follows where you actually load something up in the Canva and make modifications, and it guides you. So if you're looking for, there was one that went over, is it for beginners maybe? There was one that went over, no, that's all how to use Canva, but there was one that really went over design elements. Let me see if I can find it. Designing with Canva. Graphic design basics. I think this is it. Yeah, here we go. So these are a lot of like really, this one is particularly great. These are a lot of really short videos. A lot of them are only a minute or two, but this runs you through things like alignment, fonts, opposites attract, talks about using like contrasting colors or fonts or textures to create more compelling designs. Yeah, don't worry about remembering any of this. This is all going to be, these links are all going to be in the toolkit. But color wheel stuff, shading, color combos, working with photos. Like this right here, this is like a 2-hour commitment maybe that will run you through, like, if you go through and you do this and then you like apply what you learn here to when you edit or tweak designs, you're gonna in and of itself just right there be able to do a lot with Canva and design work. Let me see what else. So if you have Canva Pro, one of the other things you have is you have the ability to resize and copy your designs, which is really important because, okay, so let's say let's say you find something really great, like you find this, but you really need it to be like an Instagram graphic. So you can actually go in and resize. Why is it not? They're not going to want to give me. Why am I not letting me? Okay, it's not. What happened here? Seems to have removed me. That's weird. I had this earlier. My team functionality went away. Okay, no, it's up there, right?
You use the Weeds and Deeds one?
Yeah, I am in the weeds and okay, I am in
Okay.
weeds and deeds. Why is it not? Well, it's not letting me.
So it looks like it'll let you
Okay, no,
resize
there. Okay, never mind. I got.
because it has so much content. This one has so much content that I think it's like sort of giving you like what the optimal like sizing for it
Yeah,
is.
no, it will let you resize it though. You have to. I never mind. I got. See, sometimes I forget how things work. So you can type in up here if you want to, whatever you want to resize it to. And they've got all of these preset templates. So like, I want to make it like an Instagram square. And I'm just gonna I'm gonna resize this because I don't want to make a bunch of duplicates. So I'm gonna resize. And in this case, it literally just kind of makes the design wider. So there's a lot of modification that would need to be done to make this work. Like you would need to make this bigger. But you can resize. So you can create a design and you can resize it in a bunch of different ways. So in this one's going to do the same thing. If I do, I'm going to do I'm going to do a resize. That's going to do that. Okay. So because I set this as a background, it pulled it out. So I can now go in and resize as appropriate to kind of like tweak the design and make it look a little bit better for what I'm doing. But so you can take a design and tweak it and rearrange it and make it work in different sizes. So I can resize that. I can go in and like if you want to go to another extreme, and it does a pretty decent job of resizing elements to make them fit. Like, so this is like a story for like an Instagram story. So it's a very wide one. But like you can start to run into things like this text is very small and probably very hard to read. So some of this stuff would need to be adjusted, resized. And the more you do that, the trickier it gets. That's up to you on how much you want to work within design, within how much you want to learn and how comfortable you feel about doing design work. Sometimes if you look for templates, you will find that somebody has already done a number of different variations for you. Here's some examples here, because we were looking at this earlier. Like this is this, and like these two are obviously like very similar templates that are designed in different format sizes. Same thing for these two. You know, so sometimes you'll see templates where it's like pretty similar. Yeah. We did point out, like we did do some searching last time around. I don't think I searched the term sexual violence. I searched sexual assault. So sexual violence has a little bit more, but as you can see, this is really, really limited. You know, there's definitely room to expand on that. Another thing you can look at, if you find designs you like, there's usually a way to yeah. Did I let you do that for templates? I thought they did. I thought you could go in and see, preview this template. Yeah, that is one thing you can do here, is if you click and you preview a template, it's going to give you templates it thinks are similar. How exactly, and it also gives you at the bottom, it gives you a set of some keywords that this is under. So like, it's like you've got keywords like awareness, and if you click and you just search awareness templates, it's going to give you, there's breast cancer, there's addiction, there's you know, singles awareness day, okay. You know, HIV awareness, mental health, domestic violence, you know, there's lots of breast cancer, World Cancer Day. You know, you can search templates that way. You can also search templates by color, all kinds of different things. So sometimes it involves just like thinking about what you're trying to do, looking at different themes of that, and figuring it out. Wake up and drink coffee. Less scrolling, more living. Basketball. So there's going to be a whole variety here. Let me see.
And if you're doing this for social media and not just for outreach or for support groups, you know, there are, Instagram will give you popular dates to post for, right? So for example, we saw one earlier that was on suicide prevention, right? And so sometimes you can get a little creative with like, where are the common thread lines, right? Or through lines for some of our work and some of these like dates. And so you can, if you're time managing and you're like, I'm going to spend one day this week, just, you know, and just put together 3 or 4 graphics and then schedule them on the days that and we didn't talk about the business suite, but there's a way that you can schedule things ahead so that if you've already designed it, you kind of use a Word document to put all of your, you know, the actual text in, and then it'll post automatically to your Facebook and to your Instagram. I don't know how many agencies are still using Twitter. Twitter is a little different. But you can do that. TikTok is a whole different game, and I'm not as knowledgeable there, so I'm not even going to go there.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. This is like, if you have a design, this is something we were playing with last hour, you know, just kind of modifying what was like a sales template to use as like a denim day flyer. Because that's what folks were talking about using. Some people use some of these graphics, these instead of trying to find photos of people, they generally will search for those same things within graphics elements. To try to find pictures of people, because as you're using illustrations, especially highly stylized ones, you're kind of separating it a little bit from things like overt body sizes and stuff like that. But if you're in here, the boxes, yeah, what's in the box? Well, it is a sales ad, so it is like the original, like it's he bought some denim. It's full of jeans. Why their gift box is full of jeans, I don't know, but um a lot of your functions when you have a design are in this share menu. You have the option of actually sharing with other individuals by their email address. You can share with your entire team by typing in the name of your team. You can also create links, you know, and you can use, if you're familiar with Google Docs, you have a lot of the same functionality of sharing a link. So you like, only you can access it, only people with permission can access, only your team, anybody with the link, and then can they edit, can they view, can they comment? You can copy that link and it's going to give you a link that you can use to give to share it. You can also share a template link. And what that's going to do is a template link is going to give you them, is going to look like this. Yeah, it's going to look like this. It's going to show them the template. It's going to give them an option to use it as a template, which means it's going to make a local copy for them and not affect your original version. So that's also an option if you want to give somebody a design but not allow them to edit it. On the other hand, sometimes you might want to have, if you're collaborating, you want somebody to be able to go into that same file and make edits to it, and you can do that as well. Materials for tabling, yeah. But also under share, this is where all your download options are. Whether you can download PDFs, you can download PNGs. There's also some other formats here. There's video formats. And then of course, also there is share on social. And so this pushes out directly to a lot of social media options. I have not used this much, but it would probably be, you know, yeah, you would have to connect them, but like, it looks like you can push directly into your social media of choice. And share out through there. That's definitely something to explore a little bit more. Yeah. Eva's saying they personally love when they get editing ability, because then they can make minor edits and things like that. And there's not multiple revisions of the document. That's always great when there's not like deadline day graphic, final version 4, final. Like, you know, especially when there's lots of people involved. So that definitely makes a lot of sense. Some of the last, there are lots of really cool editing tools, and there are a lot of really cool photo editing tools. So first off, I'll ask, does anybody have any questions, comments, thoughts, anything that doesn't make sense or you want me to get into a little bit more? Does anybody have anything in particular situations they're trying to manage that they want feedback on? We got about 15 minutes left, and I want to make sure there's time for that. Yeah, or ideas for things that you want to develop. I'm going to show you, when you have an image, you have the ability of like cropping the image, sizing it down, things like that. But you also have a whole bunch of image editing functionality, which this is a really powerful tool in Canva. So you have basic adjustment stuff where you can adjust things like brightness, contrast, saturation, like basic, pretty standard video editing stuff. You have some filters that you can apply or remove that are similar to like Instagram and lots of other places. Yeah, and I was getting to that. So one really cool thing is the background remover. This is a pretty powerful tool that's automatically able to take a photo, figure out what's the focus of the photo, in this case, the person, and remove the background elements. So there we go. So as you can see, there we go. We have that photo now without the background. So if we wanted to do something a little bit more like a collage, or we wanted to have, you can bring things forward and backwards. So I'm going to send this to the back, put it behind our thing. So let's make this red again. Let's left justify. So we're playing around with this design a little bit. So you can start to play with the design, and then you can stack filters. So there's some other stuff you can do as well. There are all kinds of different filters, and like blurring, color mixing, mosaics, like auto enhancements, facial retouching, and then all these really stylized filters. One I really like is duotone. And what duotone does is it redoes the image using two colors. So it makes it a two-color composite image. So these colors, you can pick whatever you want and tweak and get some like really cool, like you can use it to do like a black and white effect like that, and it should drop him back where he belongs in a second, maybe. Yeah, there we go. So you can really stylize some stuff, and things like duotone and some of these filters are a really great way. Like maybe you have photos that you took with your phone that you want to use, and they're not professional quality. A lot of times you can use something like a black and white filter or a stylized filter or duotone to cover up a lot of the fact that like maybe the color was off, maybe the set, like you can change that, you can tweak that and get something that is really usable. I think somebody came off mute a second ago. Did you have a question? Nope. I guess. Okay, cool. Yeah. You take somebody out of the front and leave the background. Unfortunately not. However, so like, okay, so here's a perfect example. So we have this guy, he was in a greenhouse on a tomato, which I think was growing tomatoes, if I was looking at it correctly. I wasn't looking that close, but let's say we wanted to more Floridaize him, and we wanted to put something that matches our region a little bit better. So I can go through, and what I can do is I can take the guy, remove him from the background, and then I can go find, often it's a lot easier to find stock photos of things without people in them. Like I actually was trying to find a photo of like, if I'm trying to find like Orange Grove worker, like it's still just giving me photos of like, here's somebody's hands, but like it's giving me these backgrounds and photos, but it's not giving me anything with a person. So this is a perfect example where I took this and I want to go through and I want to find one that looks real. Like some of these are like really overly manicured. So I want to find, this actually. Okay, and it likes to attach to the background. And I want to, so I can do something like that. And so I can also create these like really cool, like effects where it's like, okay, maybe he's black and white and maybe I want, oh, no, I don't want to crop. And then I can edit this and I can duotone it. And I'm just selecting a random one. It doesn't matter because then I'm hitting the edit and I'm going in and I'm changing the colors. So I can go in and that's probably a bit much. Maybe like a gray and a lighter red. And give it a second and it will, so I can make composites, and sometimes doing something like this also covers up, like when you start Photoshop compositing image, when you start compositing images like that, if it takes a really good eye to be good at telling like how to adjust the colors so like the lighting of the person looks the same as the lighting of the background, and that's often what in our brain gives away the fact that it's a composite. So doing something like this, you kind of uh throw all of that out, in the sense that like you're like, I'm not going to try to match colors, I'm gonna know that it's stylized and make it intentionally that way, so I don't have to like try to match and make it look super photorealistic. And truthfully, something like this often is like pops a little bit more than just like a basic photo. This here would not be a great thing for printing, because it's all blocks of color. You're going to run out of red toner like very quickly. But you could go in and use like a white background, or adjust things out a little bit and make it work for something that would be printable. And obviously you would resize it to like, well, actually, it already did. I resized it to something, but like you would size it as a flyer. Yeah, that would be cool. That's like the next level of like AI, is to be able to take a photo with somebody in it and like and just remove them. The photo, the removal, the background removal tool is really great when it works. If it doesn't grab everything, it can be kind of hard, like because the tool for going in and like removing, like there is a painter, like an add or a remove tool that it gives you after it processes. It's not very good. It like tends to just not do a great job. It like leaves like weird odd, like it can be like, truthfully, if y'all are using it like for basic stuff, nobody will probably ever notice, but it's definitely not as good as like at that point. There's more advanced tools that you would use to remove something like that, like Adobe Illustrator. Yeah, so we have 5 minutes left. So does anybody have any questions or anything that they would like to bring up as we wrap this up? I hope that this was helpful and useful information for you. I will share my contact info. I will share my email in just a second if any of y'all want to reach out to me and ask me any more info. Otherwise, like we're going to begin the work of putting together the toolkit over the next couple of months and have that ready to go by the end of this quarter, which is this year. And that's going to really give you, that's going to have all the recordings of this in it. It's going to have like links to the CANVA stuff. It's going to have links to stock photography. It's going to have instructions on how to do things. It's going to have a lot of really great information, and I'm looking forward to getting started on it.
Thank you. And that looks actually pretty cool. I like how it turned out. Maybe not so much the red in the back, but
yeah.
The one thing I think we didn't cover was the transparency. And the reason I mentioned that is sometimes if it's too colorful, or if you're having difficulty like with the contrast, you can also play with that transparency in the back. The thing that I've seen Ray do quite a bit is put a block of color behind text. And that's another way that if you don't want to lose that image in the back, but you kind of want to pop the contrast for ADA compliance, you can kind of figure it out that way.
Yeah, I can show that real quick. With the logos, you mean?
No, like if you have like a really dark background and you're having trouble with, like, you still want to keep some of the
I
color
got you. I
elements.
got you. Yes. So yeah, you can do things like any given image, there's a handful of things up here, and one of them is transparency. So you can make the image less transparent. So like in this case, you've got this red background, so I can put the image over it and I can turn the background up and down. So let's say I had to put like some text up here or something, you can make it more readable. You can also do that by like putting shapes in. Like you can put in a background block and like set it to partial transparency too. So maybe you don't want to wash out this image, but you want to create a spot so that you can include like text. So you could do something like that, and that's going to make that more readable because, of course, yes, you want things to be readable both for response rates. Like people are gonna, like, if you follow ADA compliant stuff, you often end up creating really effective materials, especially if you're trying to grab somebody's attention. Like if this is a flyer on a wall in like on a bulletin board at a community center, or a thing that somebody's seeing on Instagram as they scroll by, you want less information, larger text. You want it to be really quick and obvious, like this is what this is. And a lot of times, like the font requirements and the design requirements around ADA compliance actually like kind of force you to design in that way, like automatically. But yeah, cool.
Thank you so much, Ray. And so Ray has included your email address on that if you have not had a chance to look. Mine is also on there, so please feel free to reach out. We do work with you if you're ever struggling with the design or even just brainstorming. We've had people just call me up and say like, hey, I just need a brainstorming session. So that's what we're here for. Let us know when you need help. And then these recordings will be made available to you also on the YouTube channel. Earlier in this presentation, I put some links up to the what I'm calling like the rural, basically, webinar series that's been kind of like, we're uploading them slowly since we're kind of phasing out another program where we had them available on GoToWebinar. So more in those will be uploaded to that channel. Again, thank you so much for being here. And this is it. This was our communication series. So the end of the 4th session. Thank you for making it a success.
Thank you all.
And we'll hang back just a little bit just in case you have any last minute questions.
Not bad.
Oh, I'm gonna put, okay, I put it, I put your email back in there again because you accidentally direct messaged it to me.
Oh no. Okay. Well, everybody's gone, so
Oh, well, it's okay.
it's fine. My email's around.
Yeah, and they'll know to reach out to me if they need you.
I always do that. I never, I do it all the time, accidentally direct message.